Choosing a financial advisor is a major decision, and you know that you want to make sure that your advisor has their best interest in mind. Now, this comes as no surprise that many people and investors have heard the stories of Bernie Madoff and other unscrupulous advisors, so they're confused about who they should trust. Now, the issue with the financial services industry that makes it even more confusing is that it's a very fragmented industry, not only from the standpoint of what a financial advisor can and cannot do, but from the standpoint of who they work for, who are they employed by. Let me give you an example. Some financial advisors work for banks. Some financial advisors work for insurance companies. Some financial advisors work for big brokerage firms, others work for small brokerage firms, and yet others work on their own. So the issue here is that depending on who you are employed by is basically the regulation or standard you fall under. However, what even makes it more confusing is that we all have the same title, financial advisor. So how do you select a financial advisor you can trust? So when choosing a financial advisor, it's important to know that there's a difference in standards. Some work under what's called the fiduciary standard, and some work under what's called the suitability standard. So often, the financial advisor's employment actually dictates which side of the fence they're on. So let's talk about the fiduciary standard. So the term fiduciary gets kicked around a lot, and it's quite popular lately, but it actually has been around for quite a while. It means that it was created in 1940 as part of the Investment Advisors Act. This standard is regulated by the SEC or by the state securities regulators. And it says that an advisor by law, now this is by law, must put the client's interest above their own. And they must also avoid and disclose any conflict of interest. Now, the fiduciary standard is actually a very high bar. It's a high standard, and most financial advisors in the industry are not, and actually cannot be held under this high standard. Some of the biggest firms that you know in Wall Street and probably have seen statements from or commercials from are not even allowed to be a fiduciary. So, who can be a fiduciary? Well, a fiduciary can be an individual advisor or an investment firm who are what's called registered investment advisors, or RIA for short. And these folks are held to the fiduciary standard. Now, RIAs are required to register with the SEC and will have what is called an ADV. Now, this booklet, which is given to you or is available online, is a public disclosure booklet, and it goes over how an advisor gets paid, the advisor's investment philosophy, and any past disciplinary and legal actions taken against them. So if you don't fall under the fiduciary, you fall under what's called suitability. Now, many financial advisors instead fall under this lower, not so strict standard. Okay, that is the suitability standard. This standard means that they are making recommendations that are suitable, okay, for a client based on a specific need, an objective, or a circumstance. So advisors that fall under this standard's loyalty is to the company that employs them, and they are unable under the regulation to actually be or act as a fiduciary. So who uses the standard? Well, if your advisor is associated with a broker dealer, they cannot act as a fiduciary. An example of an advisor who would fall under the suitability standard is one that may work for a bank, an insurance company, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, and actually many other similar type arrangements. All right. So if you are working currently with an advisor but do not know which side of the fence they fall under or which standard they must adhere to, and you want to know more, just ask them. A fiduciary advisor will actually not hesitate to answer and will actually put it in writing for you that they will act as a fiduciary. Now, the financial quarterback, myself, and Wealth and Business Planning Group is proud to operate under the fiduciary standard of care and will even put it in writing for you. So I'll see you next time.